tell me something, like I was talking to my viewers, is it a double-edged sword? I mean, first, of course, the good news is that if Tamil Nadu women are topping at 44%, it does mean that they are empowered. There is more of a supportive policy for them. It is also about how they are more on the floor. I mean, the workers, they are getting onto the floor and working. They are entrepreneurs. They are taking economic decisions. So first, the good news, and second, whether it's a double-edged sword, because if the onus is on that woman who's maybe running a kind of a factory to pay back the debt, then what happens?
I'm indeed, I would say that with regard to women empowerment, because we know that in our country, India, especially over the past few years, if you see, it is not women development, it is women led development. In every single budget that we see, we need inclusions, not just financial inclusion by taking into consideration the look and feel of our country, India, rather inclusion in terms of gender as well, right? So now, encouraging more women entrepreneurs to come to the forefront is indeed a very beautiful thing. And out of the every Indian state, if you see, Tamil Nadu has the highest share with regard to the women borrowers. For the fact that the number of entrepreneurs are increasing in our country, India, and that is indeed showing that economically, socially, politically, culturally, also women is on the forefront. Right. So now this shows that how much the female gender is on the high perspective. If you see the labor force participation rate of our country, India, over the years, gradually it has been increasing. From 19%, it has become 35. And as for the latest 2024-25 data, it stands at 41%. It is indeed a great improvement for us. Now, for that, money is a big criteria. And not every woman is having their own money where they'll be able to do a business or do any sort of work just like that. So the only source for them is actually to get a bank loan. And now the government, in order to increase this particular entrepreneurship among the females, even the 2025 budget also, they made an extra contribution to encourage all the women, especially belonging to the backward the categories, to come up. And that is why if you see the vulnerable classes includes women, children, and other PVGT groups as a whole. So bringing, or let's say kind of promoting them is indeed the need of the hour. At the same time, if you see, in order to reduce the burden that these women are taking, a factor called as multiple government schemes to promote women entrepreneurship by giving or offering multiple subsidies are also given to women. So all these are basically.
But Dr. Nisha, considering you're an expert, but for the viewers, so you are basically saying it's great news. It's really truly empowering women. Unmutes, ma'am. Unmute yourself, ma'am. Ma'am, I can't hear you.
I'm unmuted. Am I
Now it's
audible?
okay. Yeah, now you're audible, ma'am.
So, see, entrepreneurship is indeed a very big thing, Sudha. See, me, myself, and you, again, we would love to, come up in society multiple perspectives. At the same time, where does the money come? So, financial inclusion means it is actually promoting every gender equally, right? And now, when the financial or the informed choices made by the women is indeed to be appreciated. At the same time, the government is also helping them to reduce their burden by offering lot of subsidies. So the women, instead of taking loans on the other forefront business loans from normal banks, they can apply via the so-called schemes, government schemes put forward to the government, so that many subsidies are given to them. And you talk about the financial burden what they have. So let me tell you something. The financial burden, when you take money for a business can have a profit or a loss. But then at least this is enabling a woman to have her own independence in every context, and every business cannot end up in loss.